Dear students, in the present session, we will discuss some points about variables and data. Now let me first define what is a variable. A variable is a characteristic that vary from one person to another. A characteristic that vary from one person to another is known as a variable. Examples: height, weight, number of siblings, sex, marital status. These are all examples of variables. In the first three cases, that is height, weight, number of siblings, etc., we have numerical information. So they are known as quantitative variables. Quantitative variables. In the case of sex, marital status, etc., we have non-numerical information. They are known as qualitative variables, also known as categorical variables. Qualitative or categorical variables. Remember this, in statistics, we use both the quantitative and qualitative variables. Both the types of variables can be used for statistical analysis. Now this quantitative variables is again classified into discrete and continuous. Discrete and continuous. Quantitative variables is classified into discrete and continuous variables. A discrete variable is a variable whose possible values can be listed, even though the list may continue indefinitely. It's a variable whose possible values can be listed. Examples: number of students in a class, number of students in a class, number of siblings. So the possible values of this quantitative variable can be listed: number of students in a class, number of siblings in a family, etc. So it involves the count of something. It involves the count of something. Continuous variables are those variables whose possible values is a variable whose possible values form some interval of numbers. We define the values in an interval. And it involves measurement of something. Measurement of something. For example, height of a person. Height of a person, or weight of a newborn baby as an example. Newborn baby. These are examples of continuous variables. And in the case of continuous variables, we consider value in a range. So it involves measurement of something, discrete count of something. So quantitative variables are discrete and also continuous. Now, the values of a variable for one or more persons yield what is known as data. For example, values of the variable height for more than one person, one or more persons, will give you data, height of so many persons. Now, this information, this data is collected, organized and analyzed by statisticians. The values of a variable for one or more persons yield data, and this data is collected, organized and analyzed by statisticians. Now, like variables, data can also be classified as qualitative. That is, the value of a qualitative variable is qualitative data, and the data of a quantitative variable is quantitative data, and the data of a discrete variable is discrete data, and the value of a continuous variable is continuous data. So, like a variable, data is also classified as quantitative and qualitative. Quantitative itself is discrete and continuous. So, data belonging to quantitative variables, quantitative data, qualitative variables, qualitative data, like that. Now, each individual piece of observation of data is called, each individual piece of information is called an observation. For example, height of a person, weight of a newborn baby, color of a person, individual piece is an observation, and the collection of all these observations is known as data set. If you have 100 individuals and if you have the height of all these 100 individuals, it is an example of a data set. And remember this, the classification of variables into quantitative and qualitative is important for data analysis. That is, the tools, the statistical tools depends on the type of data. Some tools are useful only for quantitative data. Some tools are useful only for qualitative data. So remember this, you must classify your data into qualitative and quantitative, and this information is necessary, useful at a later time when this data is used for statistical analysis, for finding information about some phenomena like that. So this is variables, data sets, observation, its classification, and